Thank you all for being here. What a wonderful night and what a wonderful crowd. You know, many folks from around the Midwest traveled here tonight. Think of the courage these people from Indiana and Wisconsin and Iowa took and displayed as they crossed into Illinois, the blue dot in the middle of the ocean of red middle America. Folks, after November, that's going to be forgotten. Illinois is going red again. These people probably forgot, or these people were probably surprised when they crossed into Illinois to see that they ran into some of the most active and most energetic Tea Partiers, 9/12ers, and conservatives in America. Perhaps most shocking to them, they also ran into a few politicians from Illinois that gave speeches tonight without a teleprompter. The number one question I receive when I'm on the campaign trail, without a doubt, is why on earth would you want to run for lieutenant governor? I think it's a fair question, so let me explain to you why I'm running. If you look at the assets and resources in the state of Illinois, the proven coal reserves of southern Illinois, the agricultural products that come out of central and western Illinois, the colleges and universities that are sprinkled around our state. If you look at our geographic location, with our road and our rail and our river and our air infrastructure, I think we're as blessed as any state in the union. Yet, with all these things going for us, we remain at the bottom two of every economic and job creation measuring stick out there. Why is that? If it's not a lack of human talent, if it's not a lack of assets or resources, it's clearly a lack of policy leadership in Springfield, Illinois. Our worker compensation rates put our businesses and our workers at a competitive disadvantage with the workers and businesses in surrounding states. Absolutely. Our tax and regulatory environment punishes investment in job creators, and our tort environment, the lawsuit abuse that exists within the state of Illinois, puts a chill down the spine of every businessman and every healthcare provider that has ever thought about stepping foot in the state of Illinois. Perhaps the most compelling deterrent to business, investment, and job creation in the state of Illinois is the lack of confidence in our state government and its budget. Democrats have controlled the Illinois House for 28 of the last 30 years. They've controlled the governor's mansion and the state Senate since 2003. The culture of corruption, graft, and monkey business that they promised to eradicate has instead flourished. Our celebrity apprentice governor, I'm sure you remember him, managed to take it to a whole new level. And let me remind you, that's when he was only working 8 hours a week. Folks, his successor, Pat Quinn, who fancies himself a reformer and man of the people, has instead wilted under the spotlight of leadership. He has failed to provide the leadership that the taxpayers of this state demand. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I'm a bit nervous standing in front of people from Iowa and Indiana and Wisconsin because, to be honest with you, I'm not sure who they should support. Pat Quinn likes to talk about the supposed job creation that's taking place under his leadership. Well, he's right. There is job creation taking place under his leadership. And on November 2nd, you're going to have a decision to make. Bill Brady and myself, or Pat Quinn and Sheila Simon. Job creation in Illinois, or job creation in Iowa, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Folks, the Blagojevich-Quinn legacy of destruction of the private sector in the state of Illinois must come to an end. Nothing was as telling as the condition of the state of Illinois to me as a brief conversation I had back in the primary. My family's in the lumber business. I was in Indianapolis, Indiana, talking to some folks, and a friend of mine from Indiana introduced me to a lumber wholesaler from New Jersey. They introduced me by saying, "Jason's running for lieutenant governor." And the girl from New Jersey said, "Oh, lieutenant governor of Indiana." I said, "No, lieutenant governor of Illinois." And I will never forget what she said next. She said, "Why on earth would you want to run for lieutenant governor of the state of Illinois? That state is so corrupt." Folks, when the good people of New Jersey call Illinois corrupt, I think it's clearly we've gone the wrong way. Thankfully, while Bill Brady and I are cleaning up the mess in Springfield, there's a good gentleman in New Jersey named Chris Christie doing the same. Folks, as I've crisscrossed the state in this campaign, the media, they like to comment about my age. I'm 28 years old. Well, I like to point out a few things to them. I like to point out that I'm 28 years old, and I've spent more time in the private sector than our governor and his running mate combined. I like to point out that while President Obama was beginning his political career in the living room of one Bill Ayers, I was at the University of Illinois leading the student opposition to taxpayer-funded speeches by Bill Ayers. Most importantly, I think President Herbert Hoover said it best. He once said, "Blessed are the young, for they will inherit the national debt." Ladies and gentlemen, before I inherit any debt, I'm going to demand a seat at the table. I plan to be part of the strong leadership team that's going to refuse to continue to kick the can down the road. I will no longer accept the status quo of mortgaging the future of our children and our grandchildren simply to protect the status quo of politics in Springfield. I once read the Republican Party should be the sober and responsible party for the sober and responsible people. I'm going to skip the obvious Kennedy joke there and pledge to you I will be a sober and responsible public servant, and I will restore the fiscal and moral integrity of our great state. Winston Churchill once said, "History will be kind to me, for I intend to write it." While we're not on an island under the threat of foreign invasion, we are facing many threats. Unfortunately, our threats are internally created. And I stand here tonight firmly believing that we are, in fact, making history. I believe that the infamous silent majority of America and Illinois has stood up. We're standing up for our nation and our state. I'm not a dramatic person, and I don't like it when people exaggerate what's at stake. But on November 2nd, 2010, I believe the American people will go down as history as the people that once again stood up for our nation. I believe that we will refuse to become a cradle-to-grave nanny state that has ruined so many European states. I believe that we will refuse to have our independence, our economic vitality, and our rugged individualism taken away from us by big government. We will stand up for all that has made America great. The key battleground on November 2nd will be here in Illinois, and with your help, with your continued involvement, with your continued hard work, we're going to win. Absolutely. We're going to send those gentlemen that were just on stage, as well as a few others that couldn't make it here tonight, to Washington, D.C. Because the way I see it is, Chicago is a wonderful asset to our state. It can't help what's happened to it under poor leadership. And over the last decade or so, we've seen that same Cook County-style politics come down to Springfield, Illinois, and I think ruin Springfield, Illinois. And over the last 2 years, the entire world has seen that Cook County-style Chicago politics exported to Washington, D.C., and ruin Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, you send them to Washington, D.C. You send Bill Brady and I to Springfield, Illinois. We're going to work hard, and we're going to turn the state around. It's going to once again become the leading job creator and the economic hub of the world. And folks, most importantly, again, we're going to restore the moral integrity of our state. Thank you. God bless you. God bless Illinois. God bless the United States of America. Thank you.